Welcome to the Right Place podcast, where we learn with you how to navigate the world by building connections that matter, relationships that last, and businesses that thrive. My name is Rudolf Rautenbach, and today we have a conversation with Susan Marais. Susan is a businesswoman, and what I like about her profile is that she told me that she's got 4.5 businesses. I'm very much keen to find out what happens in that half business. She's mostly in the tourism space and experience within the tourism environment and the hospitality industry. And today we want to learn a little bit about who she is, what she does, her involvement, especially with the Tshwane Tourism Association, and also to find out if she's found her right place as yet. Susan, great to see you again. How are you?
I'm good, and you, Rudolf. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I met you through Life Work Leadership last year, and you were actually my group leader in my first year of Life Work. And it was such a nice experience, and we're doing Life Work again together this year. You've taken up a little bit of a different role, but you're also a group leader still. And we'll chat about that at some stage. But yeah, that's how we got to know each other. And then I also asked you to take part in the Irene Business Network event later on this month, which we'll chat about as well. But maybe before we get into that, tell me a little bit about who Susan is, where you're from, the family, what you like and dislike, and yeah, a little bit of your personal life, I suppose.
I always wonder where to start this, but if I have to go all the way back, I grew up in a small dorpie on the farm, about 2 hours from Pretoria. I came to Pretoria for high school and varsity and never left. Well, I left a few times. I'm an avid traveler. If you can get me to do anything for a plane ticket, but I always return. So I was very lucky to meet my husband first year at varsity. We've been together ever since, saw the world, and currently residing in Imuit, right here in Pretoria. Lots of things they say about the Moot, but we are so happy there. Our kids, our girls are 16 and 13, and Buta is 10 years old already. So yes, I divide my time between running my guest house in Colbyn. I am the creator of the Pretoria Bucket List, which I will tell you about a bit later. I serve as vice chairperson on the Tshwane Tourism Board. My heart is really in tourism and in the city and in building the economy and keeping people safe and taking care of people every day, including being an Uber to my kids.
Mum taxi never stops. I like the part about the Moot. I worked with someone at some stage that stayed, quite a few people in the business that stayed in the Moot. But the one guy was a youngster. He always said, "You can leave the Moot, but the Moot never leaves you." So it seems like people who are from that area are quite passionate about it. So you mentioned the varsity side and how you met your husband and where you stay and all of that. So how did you get into hospitality? I think it's one of those leisure type work where people always think it's nice because it gives you this holiday vibe. But it's bloody hard work in the hospitality industry, especially with the guest house and so on. You work at night, you receive people at any given time, things go wrong. So how did you get into it and what made you almost fall in love with this industry?
It is really hard work, and lots of people these days just open an Airbnb and discover very quickly that it is not something they were born to do. So quite funny for me. It started quite idyllic, I suppose, as that little girl growing up on the farm. My dad, as a farmer, we didn't take many holidays, but sometimes on a Friday afternoon, he would say, "Get in the car," and we would know it's now time. And we would come to Pretoria. We are 4 kids, all the little plaas kindertjies in the car, and he would squash all of us into a hotel room there in Sunnyside, opposite Sterland. And we would spend the weekend ice skating, watching movies, sleeping head to toe in a hotel room that's actually made not for so many people. And I just loved it. those buffet breakfasts, and that hotel still has a very special place in my heart. And it was our little getting away from everything. So when I had to decide what to study, I was looking to the BCom degrees, and I opted in the end between marketing and tourism. Went for tourism and then went ahead and worked in that same hotel company for many years, which was great. Not at that specific property, but for that company. Was very happy there. Also very lucky with my husband, whom I met while working in a hotel, to travel and work in hotels all over the world. So we really had the best of the industry, local and international. And then 8 years ago, I think for everybody, having your own place, your own lodge, something that really personifies you is the ultimate dream. So almost 9 years ago, I had the amazing opportunity to buy this beautiful, charming old house in Colbyn. And I think we've really made it into something special and unique. And yes, it's my heart. I love welcoming people from all over the world to our little corner of Pretoria.
So is the guest house your core business at the moment?
Yes, it is my bread and butter. Sometimes there's no bread or butter, just 2-minute noodles. But we've been we've been here for 9 years. It's my main business. It's my office.
You mentioned earlier on the Pretoria Bucket List, and I obviously went on it and I saw there's also branching out to Durban and other areas and so on as well. So explain to me what the Pretoria Bucket List is. I've got a bucket list. It's not all in Pretoria. Some of the things there were in Pretoria. I've ticked most of them off. So what is the Pretoria Bucket List, and how do you drive that angle of your business as well?
So during my time in the big hotels, and also when I started the guest house, I discovered very quickly so many people come to Pretoria for one day. They fly into OR Tambo, they visit our capital city for one day, and then they shoot through to Cape Town and Kruger. I love Cape Town and Kruger, but we have so much to do right here. So it started as a resource for tourists to see what we have to do and how much we have to offer right here in Pretoria. But it grew very quickly into something that the locals just bought into. So today, 85% of our followers on the website and on the socials are actually local people. And it is such a thing. We know in holiday times, Pretoria is quiet. Everyone goes away because there's nothing to do. And if that is the only thing I do in the next few years, is to change people's perceptions about how much there is to do in this beautiful, wildest, wonderfulest capital of ours, then I'll be happy.
So I want to put you on the spot now. You obviously run the bucket list and the website around that and the advertising of those things. So give me 2 or 3 of your biggest things that you would want anyone that comes to Pretoria to see. What are your favorites from that bucket list?
My favorite things are the places where you can go for a day and spend a few hours eating. The kids can run around. There's activities to do, amazing restaurants, all in the same place. It's pretty much, I think, our vision of the Cape Townian wine farms. And some of the places where you can do that is Wolvespruit. They have the hiking trail. You can go cycling. There's the restaurants. There's the painting cafe. There's so much to do. Wyntuin is their new offering there where you can sit outside. It's beautiful and literally spend a day. Another one of my all-time favorites is Rosemary Hill. Also, hiking, biking, beautiful accommodation. If you need a date night just to get out of the house for a weekend, go and stay at Rosemary Hill. Beautiful restaurants, so much to do. And then right around the corner from you in Irene, Big Red Barn is another one of my favorites. Out on Zambezi side, there's Green Olive. So many all across the city. And that is probably my favorite thing, followed closely by the markets.
Also, something that became very popular these days are all the different markets. We've always had the Boeremark and some other ones, but nowadays it feels to me like it's become a bit of the culture of the city that people want to get out and go and taste some different foods and things that you don't get in restaurants every day. And that I also am quite a big fan of. And funny enough, except for the one in Zambezi, I've been to all of them rather recently. So it is definitely something that I see happening more often and people taking part in at least. So is the bucket list then the way that you almost got into the tourism association? You are the vice president or the deputy, or I don't know your exact title, of the
Yes.
Tshwane Tourism Association. And yeah, so maybe expand on that. What is the Tourism Association? What is the drive, the mandate there, and your involvement? And yeah, what are you looking to achieve there?
So the Tshwane Tourism Association really, I almost want to say, saved my life. At a time, about a year after I started the guest house, I was very lonely. If you can't tell, I'm an extrovert. Surprise! And the Tourism Association reached out to me, the amazing Bronwyn, and she saw the bucket list. And that's why she reached out to me. And I joined at that time as chapter head for the accommodation chapter, representing my guest house and lodges and guest houses and B&Bs around the city. And I grew from there. I think it was 2016 that I joined the first time. And our aim at the Tshwane Tourism Association is really to enable networking between corporate, government, residents, and visitors towards a common purpose, which is promoting our city as the amazing tourism destination that it should be, and enabling communication and working together between all these parties.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I never knew about this body until I obviously met you. I've worked quite a bit with the city of Tshwane in financial side, on their financial sides, but not necessarily on the side. So is the association actually linked or anything to the city of Tshwane itself? Is it like an entity or a division of the municipality, or how does the relationship with the city work?
We have a very good relationship with the city, and we always work alongside them because our focus and our eventual goal is the same. We have an MOU with the city that we are so happy about. So yes, we work very closely with them, but we are not part of the government entity. We are corporate. The board is made up of managers and other representatives of local business. We represent around 200 hotels, guest houses, attractions, restaurants in and around our city. And yes, we work very closely with the city.
So it was at one of these talks, and at the beginning of the year, with the open evening of Life Work Leadership, we had the mayor as the guest speaker that evening. And in that talk, he referenced to him attending the Tourism Association's a briefing of theirs or a session of theirs, and they mentioned, he said there was this lady that spoke about Tshwane as the wildest capital of the world. And that lady sat right behind me that evening, and it was obviously you. So you got onto the radar of the mayor in that session, or the association then. And I think there's a lot of work behind the scenes looking at getting a bit of a slogan going, or a branding thing going, with the wildest capital in the world, which is obviously your brainchild, or the association's brainchild. So tell me a little bit about what this is. One last point, maybe before you go into that, is I advertised a little bit of this wildest capital in the world, and someone sent me a screenshot of the dictionary and what the word wildest actually means. And one of the things that came up is inhabitable. You can't stay there. And he's like, no, I can't vote for people who are telling us we can't stay in Pretoria anymore. So maybe clarify that. What is the wildest, and why is it the wildest capital in the world?
You're getting me really excited about this question. I hope I have 2 hours. So one of our projects at the Tshwane Tourism Association is that we are bringing out an amazing tourism guide this year. Our chairperson, Niku Rowan, always says we are here to make tourism sexy again. And I think this guide is going to go a long way towards that. And our punchline, our cover art for this tourist guide includes the line, wildest capital city in the world. And first is obviously the obvious explanation that we have these amazing nature reserves in our city. We have Dinukeng, which is the only Big Five game reserve within city limits in a capital city in the world. And there are other capital cities. People love getting into the detail. There are other capital cities, but not all the Big Five is not free roaming. We have them all free roaming. Dinukeng, obviously, so much to offer right outside the city. So then also we have wildly interesting things to do. We have wildly wonderful restaurants, and I can go on about all of that. We spoke now about the outside venues and the markets, but for me, in the end, I always bring it back to our wildly wonderful people that live here. We deal with these amazing challenges, some of them touching upon the inhabitable, between corruption and drama and load shedding, but still our people smile and we celebrate life and we build and we move forward. So that is what we are aiming to really get a conversation going, because that's the big thing about the wildest capital city. It gets people talking, it gets people smiling. There's a little bit of a glinster in die oog daar, because we all know the wild things that are not so great, but we are working on them together moving forward. And then, of course, what an honor for the mayor to quote me on that. And our next project stemming from this that I'm also really excited about, I've actually been working on that all morning, is to take our wildest capital city and to also make it the safest capital city in the world. Any traveler will know, wherever you travel across the world, capital cities are some of the most dangerous. And we, for the first time in history, have the technology to actually do something real and make our city the safest capital city in the world. And it's through a safety app that we are now promoting and encouraging people to use, that brings an armed security guard anywhere where you are. It connects to more than 400 security companies. And I really believe rolling this out to our attractions, hotels, our staff, and then, of course, the tourists and the visitors to our city. And it works across the country. So I'm really excited about also making this wildest capital city the safest one.
Wildly safe capital, which is a contradiction on its own. Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel so inspired just listening to it, in that I stay here and I've probably been to most of the things that I can think of as popular tourism attractions, and we don't necessarily regard them as that special because they're so familiar. But if we can get that passionate about it, then we can actually tell other people the story and go and show them, and just spread the word. And I think the booklet and the advertising that you guys are doing would also obviously help to enable the communication. But if we as
Yes.
citizens of the city, if we as inhabitants actually go around spreading the word, making it a positive message in that this is what we have to offer, then we don't all have to move to Cape Town, because where else are we going to have a holiday
Please.
if we stay inside? But John, I'll tell him when I see him again. John can come and visit Pretoria again. He actually did varsity here, so he knows the city well. But he can come and do some tourism attractions when he comes back here. I've asked you to talk at the Irene Business Networking event, which takes place at the end of May, specifically on this subject. And I think it's well worth the effort of spreading the word to the locals, to business people in the area, to guest houses maybe within Irene and Doringkloof and surrounds as well. What is the core message that you want to maybe tell people about on the evening?
I really just want to encourage people again to see our city through fresh eyes and what we have to offer. And you know what? We all have it within us to make an amazing change, starting on your own sidewalk, in your own street, in your own suburb. And if I can't tell people what to do, I don't know the whole city that well, but I can encourage you to open your eyes to your own area. There are so many amazing projects across the city. In the Moed, we have the Moed project, which has, it's insane everything that they have done, from making the parks more beautiful to cleaning up the streets, painting bus stops, planting sidewalks. It's amazing. And if I can just encourage people to get involved in their local community and in their local projects, you know what? The time for waiting for someone to come and save us is over. We need to go out and save ourselves. It's just one of those things. You can sit on your couch and complain, or you can do something. And doing something, I promise you, is much better. So, yes, if I can just encourage a few people to remember, first of all, how awesome the city is, and then get involved locally, I think we can really go far.
That's very, very inspiring. I've got two questions in my head now. So the one is with regards to life work and what it's meant for you. You've done it more than once. You've gone through this process for a few years now. And yeah, why are you involved in it? What does it mean to you on a personal level, your journey through that?
I'm so glad I discovered life work leadership. I can't imagine not having that monthly little. I think that's where I get a lot of my encouragement from, listening to other people, hearing their stories, and how they make a significant change in the world. And I think something that I've picked up, especially this year in all the stories, is being in business to see what we can give back, not the traditional business model of what can we get, but rather seeing what we can give back, and through that, most of the time we get something back. So that has been really inspirational for me in life work leadership, and the networking, of course, the wonderful people we meet there. You will know amazing characters from every level of business and society. And the Life Work Leadership Program is really for any business person. I can so recommend it. If we know our lives are insanely busy, I joke about the 4.5 businesses because sometimes it's 5, sometimes one of them barely operates. But even in between that, I can do this program. It's 1 day a month that you put an afternoon aside, and it is maximum impact for that 1 day a month commitment. It's really, really worth it.
For sure, I haven't heard of anyone that felt that they didn't get value out of it. So for sure that. And I'm so glad you mentioned the networking aspect, because that was the second question that I didn't know which one must I ask first. And in that, you're doing life work, it's a networking opportunity, not just networking, but relationship building over a long period of time. You're doing the Tourism Association where you sit on a board and you're obviously rubbing shoulders with other business people in the same sector, but also people at the municipality within the city and other industries. You're also talking at the networking event. So what is your perception then maybe of networking, the value of networking? How do you make networking work for you?
Like I said earlier, if you couldn't tell, I'm an extrovert. But even if you're an introvert, I think it's still so important that we share stories, that we share thoughts. It's the best way to get ahead in life. And everything that I'm involved in, it does not come from being clever or being a good business person or whatever. It comes from knowing people that share the same ideas or that has another thought that can go in the same direction, or know someone in that department that can help us with this project. I think we must be so careful to surround ourselves in our networking with people that are positive, because there's so much negativity going around in our beautiful country at the moment. And so it's not just about networking with everyone in the world. It's with surrounding you with like-minded people that share your values. And I think in that way, number one, you as a person, and then secondly, your business will really, really get ahead.
Yeah, I think you are 100% correct. It's in the value of the relationship. And yes, the events are good to meet new people, but that's not going to do anything for you if you don't follow up, if you don't spend time together and build that relationship to a level where you can actually trust each other. It's not going to be worth anything. Definitely harder work after the event than actually just attending and meeting one or two new people. Then my very favorite question that I always ask everyone that attends or that I chat to on this is, I want to know if you believe that you have found your right place yet.
That's such a good question to ask. I believe I've found my right place for 2024. What next year brings and beyond, we will see. And I don't for one moment think it will be in the same place. I think your right place is not, such a cliche, but it's not a destination, it's the journey. And your right place, hopefully, is not in the same place for the rest of your life. But every year it can take you onto a new level. But for 2024, I'm really happy with where I am and what I'm keeping myself busy with.
So that's such a good perspective on it, in that we are here now and we can make a difference where we are. We can influence where we are. We can build something where we are. But you never know what the future holds. But I do believe also that you need to have a plan. You need to work towards a better future as well. And that you can only do today. Although you have a plan for the future, whether you reach those goals or not, or whether it's the right thing for you in the future, no one knows. But at least make an impact where you are today and influence the world around you in the time that you have available now. Yeah, Susan, thanks for the chat. I quite enjoyed it. I'm so much looking forward to the conversation at the end of the month. There's still a number of seats left for the evening, and I believe that this message in terms of what is on offer in Tshwane, in Pretoria, and what people can look forward to in the future of Tshwane as well is so important. And yeah, I want to thank you for your time, firstly, but secondly, also for the work that you are doing behind the scenes. I know you need to make a living as well, but that you're contributing so much of your time towards this effort in getting our city to the level that it needs to be, and that we sometimes disregard it because we don't think that politics can play a role anymore, but we can rather take our time and make the difference ourselves. And I think you've done that by example for a lot of us, and I thank you for that. Good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing that live work, and then at the networking session end of the month, and good luck with all your ventures as well. Maybe anything last from you?
Thank you from my side as well, Rudolf, and for all you guys are doing as well. Communication, getting the positive thoughts out there, it's so important.
Good. Thank you, and we'll see you all next week on the right place. Goodbye.
Bye.